a Fitbit or an Apple Watch that's where we take out a sort of a small section of skull about the size of a quarter, replace that with what in many ways really is very much like a Fitbit, Apple Watch, or some kind of smartwatch thing, but with tiny wires, very tiny wires, wires so tiny it's hard to even see them, and it's very important to have very tiny wires that you, when they're implanted, they don't damage the brain.
How far are you from putting these into humans?
Well, we have put in our FDA application to have the aspirationally do the first human implant this year. I do want to emphasize we're at an early stage, and so it really will be many years before we have anything approximating a high bandwidth neural interface that allows for AI-human symbiosis. And for many years, we will just be solving brain injuries and spinal injuries for probably a decade. And this is not something that will suddenly, one day, we'll have this incredible sort of whole brain interface. It's going to be, like I said, at least a decade of really just solving brain injuries and spinal injuries. And really, I think you can solve a very wide range of brain injuries, including severe depression, morbid obesity, sleep, potentially schizophrenia, like a lot of things that cause great stress to people, restoring memory in older people. The emails that we get at Neuralink are heartbreaking. I mean, they'll send us just tragic, where someone was sort of in the prime of life, and they had an accident on a motorcycle, and someone who's 25 is can't even feed themselves, and this is something we.
You are now tuned in to another episode of The Truth Zone. This is your host, Truth Seeker here, and I'm back with another very important video. Elon Musk has purchased Twitter. Now, this is all another distraction. As you just watched from that video, what he's really wanting to do, he is wanting to merge human with machine. It's everything that we have talked about, us people that have been labeled conspiracy theorists throughout the years. But yet, for some reason, all these quote-unquote conservatives support Elon Musk because Elon Musk plays both sides of the field. He's been seen with Klaus Schwab. He's been seen with at the World Economic Forum. But then he plays the side of the field where he's about free speech, etc., etc. This is all another distraction. This is all just another thing to just keep people preoccupied on stuff that really does not matter. And his mom, if you really want to say that's his mom, if you get what I'm getting at, constantly flashes satanic hand signs. And of course, we all know that this whole entire thing will probably lead to Trump being allowed back on Twitter, to continue the whole clown show. And I'm not for either side of politics because politics are all stage two. They are all a bunch of actors, all a bunch of puppets put in place. And Trump constantly flashes the whole 666 stuff too. But this is what he wants to do. And all this is going to do is get people in a sense of just comfort, being comfortable with Elon Musk, because I guarantee what's going to happen once he purchases Twitter. Well, I mean, actually, he already has purchased it, I should say. He'll, give the illusion, there will be an illusion of allowing free speech back on the platform. All of the, quote-unquote conservatives and Republicans and things of that nature will rejoice and be glad and blah, 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 blah. I can already...
Not to mention that he's actually a Draco reptilian, so you know what his agenda already is.
I'm going to post this here, because there's a lot that's going on above our planet that should be going on within the planet. And, but we're not, for whatever reason, brothers and sisters, we're not building and creating and designing the way we're supposed to. We're caught up in everything else. Just like I said before, we are a million miles away from ourselves. Literally a million miles away from ourselves. Check this out. You guys, I'm not fucking playing. Look at this orb. It's a gold orb from the NASA space station live fucking feed. Excuse my language. Oh my gosh! Look! What the hell's going on? Holy fuck! NASA space station looking out to the stars. Oh my, that's a fucking massive shit. That's a massive fucking spaceship. Look! Oh my gosh, there's another one right up there. I can't even see it. There's another one. There's one fucking fleet there. There's another one right there. Oh fuck, something's going on. Something's going on, guys. Look at that shit. I'm not fucking kidding you. Oh my god. Look. Oh fuck, it's stopped. Holy fuck. You guys. What the fuck? Is somebody explain this to me right now? This is on the Roku app. The Roku fucking TV. These are the live fucking feeds. These are fucking fleets of aliens. They're staring at fucking space. Oh my gosh, something's going on. Something's going on, guys. I need fucking answers. Stay fucking woke, bitch. I've been there the whole time. What the fuck is this? They're like fucking invisible. I'm sorry. From outer space, this is space. Look at the NASA International Space Station HD live feed. Courtesy of NASA. Oh my. What the fuck is that? That's another shit. That's like I'm sorry, guys. There's something going on. This is the other shit. You guys don't believe in aliens? What the hell is this? What is this? I don't know what this is. What is this? There's something going on here, guys. We need fucking answers. We need to know what this stuff is. There's a whole city. That's like a fucking mothership. You guys, follow me. Like my video, follow me. Oh, look at they stopped it. They stopped it. Oh, shit. They fucking stopped this shit. The video from Space Station External High Definition Camera has been interrupted due to loss of signal. How the hell was that loss of signal?
Start with breastfeeding. At that point in time, we both reluctantly and gratefully relied on baby formula to help her grow. So they weren't breastfeeding. The problem was, however, that about a week after we had made the switch to full-time formula, which they made themselves, the water supply to their beautiful city of millions of people became tainted with E. coli. It was utterly undrinkable. Bottled water was severely limited. So they needed water to make their formula. It says, and as you likely know, no water means no formula, no food for our infant daughter. So they're making their own, and because the water supply went bad, they're in trouble. All right, so here's what they're saying. This is based on the World Health Organization's emergency baby formula recipe. It's a stopgap stress-busting option when all other alternatives to feed your baby have run out. Whether that's because a baby formula is a shortage, a water crisis, a natural disaster, or just the chaos of life, you forgot to get it when you went to the grocery store, you can make your own. Okay, I'm going to leave it at this. This is just, I really don't have a whole lot of information in this arena. However, my wife said that every kid grew up with making their own baby formula when we were young. So they're doing it now, homemade infant formula. I'm going to put a link to this page, and you're going to have to handle it from there on your own.
Y'all see the link right down at the bottom, the HTTP. Y'all need to watch that link because you already know what's going down with the formula. And y'all know who's behind the formula.
Across the UK later this week. As it turns the rain from thunderstorms, a sheet of Saharan dust could create a blood rain effect across the UK later this week. As it turns the rain from thunderstorms a shade of red, forecasters have predicted. Blood rain occurs when high concentrations of red-colored dust or particles combine with rain, giving it a red appearance as it falls, according to the Met Office. The red or orange rain is expected in some parts of the UK after moving across Europe, alongside heavy downpours, lightning, strong winds, and hail. The dust cloud,